crowd was loud. Alien voices screamed and shouted. Their excitement filled the air like thunder. Everyone in the arena waited for the show to begin. At the center was a wide circle made of black stone. Strange symbols glowed across the floor. A metal gate stood at one end, locked tight. Beside it sat the alien queen on a high throne. She wore dark armor and a crown made of bone. Her eyes glowed red, and her smile was cold. A guard walked to her and bowed. "Are you ready, my queen?" he asked. She raised one hand and spoke into the mic. "Let the crowd see what happens when a weak species dares to challenge me." The gate creaked and began to open. The crowd leaned forward, waiting. They expected fear, screams, or maybe someone crawling out crying. But no, a man stepped out slowly. He was human. He wore torn clothes and no armor. Chains hung from his wrists, but his back was straight. He looked at the queen, not with fear but with calm, not a single muscle on his face moved. The crowd went silent, confused. The queen stood up and laughed. Well, look at you," she said. "You're not shaking." She stepped forward, her voice now louder. "Why aren't you trembling, human? One word from me, and my pet will devour you." The floor behind the queen opened. Something heavy crawled out. The ground shook with each step. A large beast, covered in black scales, entered the arena. Its eyes burned yellow like fire. It had 6 legs, sharp claws, and teeth like swords. The crowd roared again, excited. But the human still didn't move. He looked at the creature, then back at the queen. He tilted his head. "I've seen worse," he said calmly. The queen's smile faded. She raised her hand again. The beast stepped forward. Snarling, it was close now, only a few meters away. Its breath was hot, its eyes full of hunger. The human stood still. He looked into the beast's eyes and whispered something. No one heard what he said. The beast stopped. The queen frowned. Attack. She shouted, but the creature didn't move. It stared at the human and slowly stepped back. The crowd gasped. The queen's face turned red with anger. She shouted louder, "Obey me!" The beast looked at her, then looked back at the human. It let out a low growl, but didn't attack. The human stepped forward slowly. He raised one hand and placed it gently on the beast's snout. It didn't bite. It didn't roar. It closed its eyes like it felt peace for the first time. The arena was silent. The queen looked at her guards. Confused and furious, she hissed, "He's done something to it," one of the guards said. "That's not possible, my queen. The creature only listens to your blood." The human looked up. "Oh, I know," he said. "That's why it listens to me now." The queen's eyes went wide. "What do you mean?" she asked. The human didn't answer. Instead, he looked around at the crowd. "Your queen took me from my home," he said. "She wanted to show how weak humans are." He paused. "But you should ask yourselves, what kind of creature makes friends with monsters?" The beast growled again, but this time, not at the human. It turned slowly, facing the queen. The queen stepped back, fear now on her face. "Guards!" she yelled. The guards rushed in, weapons drawn. The beast roared and jumped forward, not to attack the queen, but to block the guards. Then the ground rumbled. Another sound echoed from below. It was deep and loud. More gates were opening around the arena. The queen looked around in horror. From below, more beasts began to rise. Some larger, some faster, all with glowing yellow eyes. The queen looked down at the human. "What did you do?" she screamed. He looked up at her and said just one word. "Listened." The beasts didn't attack the crowd. They circled around the human. One by one, they knelt before him. The audience, once wild and loud, was now still. The queen backed away, her voice trembling. "This isn't possible," she whispered. But it was. Because the human wasn't just strong, he was something else now, in the arena. Belonged to him. Asterisk smoke still floated in the air. The alien queen sat frozen on her throne. Her pet, her most feared monster, was standing next to a human. The crowd didn't cheer anymore. They watched in silence, not sure what they had just seen. The queen's voice finally returned, sharp and cold. "You've done something unnatural," she said. My pet listens only to me. Its body responds only to my blood. The human looked up slowly. His eyes weren't glowing. His body had. No armor, no weapons. Still, the monster stood by his side like a protector. You don't understand, he said. I didn't command it. I didn't control it. He placed a hand gently on the beast's head. I made it remember. The queen's hands tightened into fists. What are you talking about? The human turned to face the crowd. You all think these creatures are just weapons? He said, but once they were more than that. He pointed to the beast's chest. There's a scar here. See? It wasn't from battle. It's from... When they first chained it, it remembers pain. It remembers fear. He stepped closer to the queen, and now, it remembers kindness. The queen shook her head. Impossible. These beasts have no memory. They were grown in tanks, built to obey. But deep beneath the arena, something began to move in the darkness of the prison chambers. More cages clicked open, and in those cages were more pets, silent, sleeping, until now, flashback begins. 7 days earlier, the human sat alone in a cold alien cell. Dice. His arms were chained, and the lights above flickered every day. Guards came to beat him or ask questions he refused to answer, but every night, something strange happened from the shadows. A low growl echoed through the hall. One of the alien queen's pets was kept in the cell next to his. At first it growled and snarled, trying to break free, but the human didn't shout or cry. He talked to it softly. Are you hungry? He asked one night. I know the feeling. He couldn't see it well, but he heard it breathe. I'm not your enemy, he said. Not unless you want me to be, each night. He shared the little food he got. He pushed scraps through the bars. He hummed songs from Earth. He told stories of home, of rain, of dogs chasing balls. The beast didn't understand the words, but it felt the feeling behind them. Warmth, calm, safety. One night, it stopped growling. One night, it laid down beside the bars. And one night, it let out a low, soft purr. Back to present, the queen's pet looked up at the human again. Its body shook slightly, not in fear, but in memory. It was remembering the cold cell. The quiet voice, the small kindnesses. You didn't break the bond, the queen whispered. You replaced it. She turned to her guards. Kill him now. The guards ran forward with energy weapons in hand, but the beast roared like a cannon and jumped between them. Didn't attack to kill, it defended. It knocked them down and stood in front of the human. Behind them, the ground cracked open. Again, the crowd gasped as new creatures climbed out of hidden tunnels. They were other pets forgotten, locked away, or left to rot in labs. But something had changed in them, too. They weren't attacking. They were looking for the human. He looked around and stepped forward. Each one stopped when they saw him. Each one bowed its head slightly, like it was asking a question. And the human nodded. The queen screamed. But no one listened. Even her own people were stepping back in fear. One alien whispered, He speaks to monsters like they are children. The human turned to the queen one last time. You thought power was about control, he said. But real power is about trust. The beasts circled him now, forming a wall of claws and muscle, not to attack, but to protect. The queen's palace shook again as more doors opened underground. More pets were waking, more memories returning. She backed away slowly, but her time was running out. Cliffhanger ending suddenly. A loud alarm echoed across the sky. Red lights flashed, and the roof above the arena cracked open from high above. A dark shape moved through the clouds. It wasn't an alien ship. It was human technology. The queen looked up in horror. No. It can't be, the human smiled for the first time. You took me from Earth, he said, but Earth never forgot. The sky above the alien arena changed color. It was blue before, now it was red, bright red, like fire, like warning. Everyone looked up. Even the queen, she whispered. What is that? Something was moving in the clouds, not falling, but flying, not one thing, but many. The arena trembled again. But this time, it wasn't from beasts. It was something else, something faster, something smarter. The human looked up and his eyes lit up. "They're here," he said. The Queen shouted, "Shields up!" But her guards were too slow. The sky opened with a loud boom, and then the ships appeared. They weren't alien ships. They were human. Sleek, black, and quiet. Not built to impress, but built to end wars. The lead ship stopped right above the Queen's palace. Its lights turned downward, scanning everything. And a voice came through every speaker in the arena. Calm, cold, clear. "This is Earth Defense Command," it said. "We are retrieving our citizen." The Queen's face turned pale. No signal. "Left your body," she said to the human. "No one could have known where you were." The human stepped forward slowly. "You never studied Earth enough," he said. "You thought we were all muscles and bones, but our minds, they learn faster than yours." Flashback begins. Earth. 20 days earlier, General Knox stood in a dark room staring at a blinking red dot on a map. The room was full of people in uniforms, watching quietly. "That's him," the general said. "That's our guy," a scientist nodded. He hid the tracker in his body. Deep in the bone, right under a tooth, they all stared at the signal. He only activated it when he knew it was safe to call us. "Are the ships ready?" the general asked. The reply was simple. "They've been ready since the day he was taken, back to present." The Queen screamed, "Destroy the human before the ships land." But none of her beasts moved. They were still surrounding him, guarding him, and now the crowd, once excited to watch him die, was beginning to whisper. One alien asked, "What is Earth?" Another replied, "A small world, but dangerous." The human walked across the arena floor. His steps were slow, but every sound echoed. He wasn't afraid. He was in control now. The voice from the Earth ship returned. "We have locked onto your position," it said. "Hostile defenses detected. Preparing for override." The Queen's command center beeped loudly. Her controls flashed red one by one. Her systems were failing. "What is this?" she shouted. One of her engineers cried out, "They're inside our network. They're rewriting our security." The human smiled again. "Our machines talk to your machines," he said. "And they talk better." Suddenly, screens all over the palace changed. They showed images from Earth, forests, oceans, cities with lights. Then they showed soldiers in metal suits, walking without fear, then drones, thousands of them. Then finally, a photo of the human standing with his family, smiling. "You took me from all of that," he said, "and now they're taking me back." The Queen was shaking now. Her palace lights blinked off and on. Then everything went dark. Her power was gone in the silence. Only one thing was heard, the slow, steady landing of a ship. The Earth vessel touched the arena floor gently. The ramp lowered, hissing with pressure. Out stepped a woman in armor, her eyes sharp. "Agent Noah," she said to the human. "You're late," he laughed. "Just a little. I had a few things to handle." She looked at the beasts still surrounding him. "You've been busy?" the Queen screamed from her throne. "You cannot leave. D is mine. That human is part of a royal trial." But the Earth's agent raised her weapon. "Not anymore," she said. "You had no right to take him. And we don't ask permission." Cliffhanger ending, but just before Noah could step onto the ship, the ground under the Queen split open. A giant object rose from the deep. Not a beast, something metal, alive, humming. The Queen laughed again. "You think this is over? I have a weapon your minds cannot touch." The machine unfolded like a giant spider. Sharp legs, red eyes, and a core pulsing with dark energy. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a living machine. Tied to her very body, the human paused and turned. His voice calm. "Let's see if Earth can outsmart a god." Asterisk, the arena was broken. Walls cracked. Dust filled the air. Alien crowds were running, screaming, trying to escape, but the Queen did not run. She stood tall on the edge of the platform, her eyes glowing brighter than before. Below her, the machine kept rising. It was massive dark metal, alive and hungry. It had legs like spears, arms like claws, and a face with no eyes, just red lights pulsing in time with the Queen's heart. The human agent Noah watched quietly. Beside him, The Earth agent lifted her weapon, but even she hesitated. "What is that?" she asked. The Queen laughed, her voice louder than thunder. "This is my final gift from the gods," she said. "A machine born from my blood and bound to my mind." She raised both arms. The machine responded, standing on two legs. Opening its chest like a mouth, others built armies. The Queen said, "I built myself a throne that walks." Noah narrowed his eyes. He didn't move. He just whispered, "She's merging with it." Flashback begins. Secret lab. Years ago, the Queen stood inside a white chamber. Her body wired to a strange machine. A tall alien scientist bowed before her. "You asked for more than control," he said. "You asked for something eternal." He opened a metal box, revealing a pulsing black core. "This is not just tech, it's living code. It learns, it adapts, it grows with you." The Queen nodded. "I will not die like others," she said. "My body is a crown, and my mind is the key." Then she stepped forward, and the machine opened its arms, back to present now, in front of Earth's forces. The Queen was no longer just a queen. She stepped into the heart of the machine. The arms closed around her slowly. Like armor, like a second skin, energy pulsed through the ground. The arena floor cracked open even more. Statues fell, lights exploded, and the sky above began to flicker from her new body. The Queen spoke again. Her voice now echoed with metal and hate. "You brought ships and fire," she said, "but I brought the end." The Earth agent grabbed Noah's arm. "We need to move now," but Noah pulled his arm away. "No," he said, "she's not just wearing the machine, she is." The machine, the beasts around him growled low, unsure of what to do. Even they could feel something was wrong. Something different inside the machine. The Queen's mind cheek could see everything now. Hey. The arena, the ships, the humans, the sky. Every metal system spoke her name. Every weapon waited for her thought. But she also saw something else. A shadow, a spark. It was him, the human. He was still inside her memory, from the trial, from the beast. She whispered inside her own mind. Noah's voice echoed softly. "I didn't come in. You let me in when you copied me," she screamed, trying to push him out. But he wasn't afraid, and he wasn't leaving. One giant hand and fired a blast of red energy at the Earth ship. Hit the shields with a thunderclap, shaking the sky inside the ship. The pilot yelled, "She's using planet core power. Our systems can't take another hit." The Earth agent turned to Noah. "We need your help now." Noah closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. And then he stepped forward, toward the Queen, toward the monster she had become. The beasts followed. But he raised one hand. "Stay," he said. "This is between us now." The Queen laughed, her voice deeper now. "You walk into death?" Noah didn't stop. "I've already died once, remember?" He walked straight into the light, into the dust, into the shadow of the machine. And then everything stopped. Cliffhanger ending inside the Queen's mind. Noah stood in front of her again. Not with weapons, not with fire, but with memory. He held out something small, a photo, a human family, a young boy hugging a dog. A sunset behind them. The Queen stared at it, confused. "What is this?" she asked. Noah looked her in the eyes. "This is what you'll never understand," he said. "You wanted to live forever, but you forgot how to live." She screamed, energy bursting everywhere, but her power started to crack, and as the cracks grew, the machine body began to shake. The Queen's voice started to split. She was losing control. Noah whispered one final word. "Remember?" The screen went white, and then silence. Silence. No one moved. No one breathed. The machine queen had frozen in place. Her red lights blinking slow and weak, and the human agent Noah was gone. The arena stood still, like time had stopped. Earth soldiers searched the ruins but found no body. The beasts wandered the edges, confused and restless. The sky above was quiet. Too quiet, then. Somewhere deep under the ground, a spark lit up. It was not metal. It was not machine. It was... A heartbeat flashback begins. The lab cell 22 days ago, and Noah sat in the alien lab. Chained to the wall, an alien scientist stood behind glass, holding a silver injector. Human bodies break to easily. He said, "But your mind is different." He pressed a button, and the injector hissed. The liquid inside was glowing purple, alive and moving. "This is royal DNA," the alien said. "Taken from the queen herself." Noah struggled. "You don't need to do this," he said. The alien smiled. "Oh, but I do." The needle plunged into Noah's arm. Pain shot through his body, his vision blurred, his skin burned, and then he blacked out. Back to present underground core chamber. Noah's eyes opened. He was lying in a deep, glowing chamber. Wires floated in the air like jellyfish. The machine's heart pulsed above him, but he wasn't dead. He was different. He stood up slowly and looked at his hands. They glowed faint gold. Not alien, not fully human. Something in between. A voice echoed in his mind. It wasn't the queen's. It was his own, but doubled. One soft, one deep. "You survived," the voice said. "But you're not the same." Noah walked forward through the chamber. The walls shifted as he passed. Sensors opened, scanning his body, and every time they scanned, they backed, aware, recognizing him, not as a threat, but as their new master. Above ground in the arena, the Earth agent stood beside the fallen wreck of the Queen's machine. "She's gone," she whispered. "No," said one of the soldiers, looking at the cracked core. "She's changing." Suddenly, the machine's chest opened again. Everyone raised their weapons ready to fire, but instead of a monster, Noah stepped out. He looked different. His body was stronger, his skin glowing slightly. Lines of light ran through his arms and neck, his eyes still, human but deeper, sharper, like they had seen something no one else could. The Earth's agent lowered her weapon. "Noah." He nodded once. "It's me." The beasts rushed to him, but didn't growl or roar. They bowed their heads and stepped back. Even they could sense it. He had changed. Not just from the machine, but from the queen herself. Flashback begins. Inside the queen's mind, when Noah showed her the photo, when he made her feel something, her mind didn't reject it. It copied it, and through that memory, a link formed, two minds, sharing the same moment, one alien, one human. Her DNA was inside him now, but his memories were inside her. They blended, they rewrote each other, and when she died, she didn't leave nothing behind. She left him back. "To present, I have her knowledge," Noah said. "I can feel her machines, hear her systems. But I also know this isn't forever." The Earth agent stepped forward. "Is it dangerous?" He nodded. "Yes. If I don't control it, but maybe. It can help more than it hurts." The alien crowd, what was left of them, looked at him with fear. Not because he was a killer, but because he was something new. Something never seen before. "I'm not just human now," Noah said, "but I'll never stop being one." He turned to the control tower, raised his hand. The lights across the city flickered, then powered down, every weapon, every drone. Every shield shut off, with one thought. The alien people dropped to their knees, not in worship, but in surrender. Stood under the alien sky, his hands still glowing, his thoughts full of memories that weren't his. The queen's voice echoed faintly inside. "You carry more than my power." It said, "You carry my burden." He looked at the stars and whispered, "I never wanted this." But behind him, the beasts waited. The humans watched. The galaxy listened. Asterisk, it began when he closed his eyes. No gunfire, no monsters, no metal claws, just silence. But inside that silence was a storm, one thought, then another, then a whisper, a memory not his, a voice not his. In pain that wasn't from his body, Noah fell to his knees, gripping his head. His hands glowed gold and then turned. "Red!" he shouted, but no sound came from his mouth. The Earth agent ran to him. "What's happening?" He looked up, eyes full of light. "She left something inside me," he said, "not just power." A trial inside his mind. He stood on a field of black glass. The sky above him was purple and broken. Flashes of memory floated in the air, his childhood. The arena, Earth, the queen, the beasts, but they all blurred together, and then she appeared, the queen, but not in her machine body. Here, she was made of light and shadow, half real, half thought. Welcome to the last door, human, she said. You didn't kill me, you brought me in. Noah clenched his fists. I didn't want this. She walked around him like smoke. But you opened your mind, she said. And now? We finished the game. The trial of will begins. Storm rose around them. Winds full of voices. Every fear Noah ever had was now alive. He saw the battlefield where his brother died. He saw the cold lab where the needle entered his skin. He saw Earth burning, his family calling out to him from fire and ash. He tried to run to them, but the glass broke under his feet. Pain makes you weak, the Queen said. Humans break because they feel too much. Noah stood still. No. He said quietly, we break sometimes. But then we heal. He closed his eyes and focused. A new memory formed in the air. Not of pain, but of hope. His brother laughing, his dog chasing a ball, his mother singing, and Earth. Green and full of light, the Queen hissed, no, stop. But it was too late. Her world of shadows began to crack. You wanted to live forever, Noah said, but you never asked why, the Queen's secret suddenly. Her shape flickered. She turned away. He followed her and saw a memory she tried to hide. A small alien child, sitting alone in a broken room, crying, afraid, forgotten. That's you, Noah whispered. She shouted, silence. But the memory played anyway. The child cried until a metal machine came to comfort her. It offered no hug, no words, only silence and power. She took the machine's hand and never cried again. You erased your feelings to become strong, Noah said. But feelings are what make us fight, not weakness. The breaking point, the storm roared. The Queen tried to crush him with vision's loss. Betrayal, guilt, but Noah didn't fall. He remembered Earth. He remembered the beasts that trusted him. He remembered the Queen's own pain buried deep. And he did something she never expected. He forgave her. You lost so much, he said. But you didn't have to lose yourself, she screamed, and the sky cracked wide open. The glass under them shattered into light. Her voice broke apart into thousands of tiny echoes. No, no. I was supposed to be eternal, but Noah reached out and touched her shoulder. You still are, he said in me. Back in the real world, Noah's body stopped shaking. The glowing marks on his arms faded. His breathing slowed. Then, stood around him. The Earth soldiers watched in silence. The alien citizens stood far back, unsure. The beasts sat quietly like statues. The Earth agent stepped forward. Are you still Noah? She asked. He looked at her. Yes, he said, but I'm also something new. Cliffhanger ending, the wind picked up, and from the edge of the arena, the stars above began to shift. A distant message came through the ship's comms warning. Incoming signal detected from deep space. Unknown origin, unknown purpose. Noah turned his head slowly toward the stars and whispered, she left more than just memories. Behind him, the ground pulsed once, and the forgotten. Machines hidden across the alien world began to wake. Far away from the arena, deep in the mountains of the alien world, a light appeared in the sky. Not a star, not a ship, something else. A signal pulsed in the ground, soft at first, then louder. Machines buried for centuries began to stir eyes that had not opened in ages, flicked to life. Glowing white-blue, a sleeping empire, was waking up. Meanwhile, at the arena, Noah stood at the center of it all. The broken queens thrown behind him, the crowd still watching, the Earth agent still waiting. The wind whispered across the open field, but no one moved, not even the beasts. Noah's hands no longer glowed, but something inside him still did. A soft hum, a connection. He could feel the old systems below the city, the locked doors, the hidden codes, the long-lost vaults, and now they felt him too, not as an enemy, but as a key. Inside the palace control room, Earth soldiers explored the Queen's tech chambers. They tried to access her command files but failed, until Noah walked in. The door opened on its own. The screens lit up, showing thousands of files. One soldier looked at him in shock. She tied her mind to every machine, said, and now that she's gone, The system sees you. As her, Noah placed one hand on the console. It scanned him, beeped once. Then a message appeared on every screen. New operator recognized. Designation hybrid monarch. The choice Noah walked through the throne room. The chair that once belonged to the queen now sat empty. The beasts had cleared the path. Even the aliens who once served her now stood silent, waiting. The Earth's agent stepped beside him. "It's over," she said. "You can come home." Noah looked at her, eyes soft but unsure. "I want to," he said. "But what happens to them if I leave?" He pointed toward the aliens, the broken city, the newly awakened machines. "They'll fight again," he said. "They'll choose another queen or worse." She looked at him carefully. "Then what do you want to do?" Noah looked at the throne, then at the stars, then at the people. "I don't want a crown," he said, "but maybe I can be something better." A message sent later that night. He stood in front of the Earth ship's long-range com. He recorded a message, his voice calm and clear to Earth Command. He said, "I'm alive. The war is over here. The queen is gone, and her weapons are mine now, but so is her responsibility. I'm not returning, not yet. There's work to do." Days passed under Noah's direction. The city began to change. Weapons were taken apart. Drones were rebuilt for farming. Beasts helped clear rubble. Children played in streets that once echoed with fear. He met with alien elders, listened to their stories. He released prisoners, opened food stores, and turned off battle alarms. The people slowly stopped whispering. They started speaking, then laughing, then building. But far beyond a new signal in the quiet darkness of deep space, something moved. A satellite, once belonging to the queen, sent out a pulse. It reached further than it ever had, and something answered. A shadow appeared on a distant world. Huge, cold, full of metal and silence. It heard the signal, and it remembered her voice, but now it had heard his. Back on the planet, Noah stood atop a cliff, looking out at the city. He wore simple clothes, not armor. Not a crown, just a symbol on his wrist. The beast's eye in gold. The Earth agent came. To him, Command accepted your message. She said, "They say. They trust you." He nodded. "They shouldn't," he replied. "Not yet, but they will." Final scene that night, under the alien stars, the machines under the city began to pulse again. Not in war mode, but like a heartbeat. For the first time in history, the old systems were learning. Not from a queen, not from code, but from a human. Noah sat in the empty throne not as a ruler, but as a guardian, a bridge between two worlds, and far above, something massive watched him, and waited, because this story was not the end. It was only the beginning.